Today's story is about the time NB Jr. tried to split up me and my boyfriend. Yes, I touched on this on the last installment, but I figured I'd go into detail here. Not like I don't have the time. Anyways, on with the story. So, I met with my BF when I was 18. He was regular at the club and would always request It's Raining Men by the Weather Girls. It was the first gay song he ever heard, which I thought was cute, plus it's a fabulous song. At the club, I like to put out a list of songs that I would sing at the audience's request. Some other queens would do the same, but others preferred to stick with a set that they'd chosen songs for. And every single Friday, my BF would request the same song. It became our little thing, and eventually he did not even have to request it. I'd start the song as soon as I saw him in the crowd. This led to flirting, then drinks, and eventually we started dating. Basically, BF and I knew each other before NB Jr. or his dad ever showed up. When I met NB Jr., BF and I were at the weird phase where we were kind of dating, but not really. We hooked up a couple times, but had no issues with physical contact with each other, and really enjoyed each other's company, but we had not officially decided on being boyfriends yet. Basically, friends with benefits, I guess. This pissed NB Jr. off a lot. The first couple times he had to come to the club, generally being a creep and telling me how I looked like a goddess when in drag. Gross. He had not seen BF. But on one Friday night, he decided to be his usual creepy self and showed up to get a good seat in the audience, quite near the front. The show started, and I did a couple of songs, and I eventually spotted BF in the audience, and our usual routine started. The song came on, I started singing, and jumped down into the audience to flirt with the audience members, mainly BF. NB Jr. did not like this at all. I could feel him glaring at BF, and oh boy, if looks could kill, he was a psycho. Anyways, after the show, BF and I go to the booth with a couple of straight girls who had come to the club for one of the girls' birthday, and they were really cool. There was not a massive amount of space in the booth, and I wound up sitting in his lap as we laughed and joked with the girls and generally had a fun night. This is around the time where BF's hatred for NB Jr. started. As BF was messing around with my wig, it kept going in my eyes. His hand got grabbed by NB. NB. She doesn't like being touched like that. BF. Sorry? NB. She doesn't like physical contact. Stop it! BF. We're pretty close friends. She's perfectly okay with physical contact with me. I'm guessing NB Jr.'s dad had informed him of what happened when he kept initiating unwanted physical contact, which is completely different. Me. NB, I'm fine. We're friends. NB, you don't let me do anything like that. Why is it okay for some random from a bar to do it? Me. NB, I've known BF since before I met you. He continued to argue that I did not like physical contact because what the fuck do I know about my own likes and dislikes, right? He also refused to let go of BF's hand until BF stood up and glared at him. Now, BF is easily 6 foot and goes to gym at least 4 days a week, so he's a pretty intimidating guy to look at. He's a gentle giant, though, so that being said, NB Jr. was pretty quick to storm out with his tail between his legs. I was pretty content to forget about the entire incident and probably wouldn't have done it till about an hour before BF had to go home. I get a text from NB Jr., which I immediately assume is just an apology for acting like a possessive little bitch tonight. I was hella wrong. The text is, no joke, about 8 paragraphs about how NB Jr. feels portrayed by me, how I treat him badly, and how my treatment of him has been greatly affecting his mental health. Honestly, I think his dad taught him how to emotionally manipulate people. Looking back on it now, I realize he was preying on my weaknesses. If anyone accuses me of behaving in a way that hurt them, true or not, I tend to let my anxiety take over and apologize profusely even in situations where I know I probably have not done anything wrong. Basically, to cut this part of the story short, partly because I'm too lazy to write it and partly because I do not want to trigger anyone, I wound up staying most of the night apologizing to NB Jr., allowing him to degrade me and tell me how awful I was for treating him like he's nothing, etc. I was in tears by the end of the phone call, and honestly, that's probably what NB Jr. wanted. There were a few more instances like this where MB Jr. would accuse me of not being a good friend whenever I showed BF more attention than him. However, he was pretty careful to avoid saying anything insulting to BF or to me when I was with BF due to the confrontation he had had with BF prior. This kind of behavior only escalated when BF and I officially started dating. This is when the blackmailing that I mentioned in my previous story started. A quick note here. BF's family are very religious, so he was still in the closet out of fear of his family disowning him. After a party with friends, MB Jr. ran up to us and showed us a picture he had taken of me and BF the night before. We were holding hands in the picture, so it was pretty innocent. Plus, I had been in drag at the time, and I passed pretty well as a girl, so BF and I just kind of forgot about it. If anyone asked, he could just say I was a female friend. Everything seemed fine until about 3 weeks after it. MB Jr. would glare at me, and BF and I tried to get closer to me, but that was about it. BF and I were both stressed out due to family stuff, so I decided to get our friends together and have a bit of a drink. Of course, MB Jr. invited himself along and continued his creepy antics throughout the night. BF was doing a pretty decent job of fending him off, though. Eventually, we were all pretty wasted, and honestly, the night is a blur. BF and I woke up, curled up together on the couch. After an hour or so, I decided that since I was the one with the least severe hangover, I'd be the one to go to the store and get supplies for breakfast. Bacon, eggs, mushrooms, hash browns, and chocolate. A very unhealthy but awesome mix. And, of course, MB Jr. had not had anything to drink the night before, so volunteered to come with me. Great! The trip seemed to be going okay until MB got onto the topic of BF. MB. He's super religious, right? Me. BF has religious beliefs, but he is not extremely religious. MB. But his family are, right? That's why he will not admit to his family that he's queer. Me. MB, I appreciate if you didn't call BF that. MB. But you say it about yourself. Me. Yeah, because I'm comfortable describing myself as queer. BF doesn't have a good experience with that word and doesn't like being referred to as that. BF's weird uncle, who he doesn't speak to anymore, would often use homophobic slurs when referring to people he did not like. But that's another story for another day. Basically, all that's important is that BF used to link the word queer with negativity all the time. NB, sighing. Fine, but you know what I mean. He hasn't told them about that, right? Me. No, NB, he hasn't. I rolled my eyes. NB. Is he scared to tell them? Me. I don't know, NB. NB. You two were going for it last night. Me. Excuse me? NB. You and BF were making out last night, gotta admit. You're pretty adorable pinned down like that, and... Me. NB. No! Not okay! NB. I'm just giving you a compliment. Me. I don't need a compliment, NB. NB. What do you see in him? He's only with you because you're a drag queen. You deserve someone that's going to treat you like a princess all the time. Me. Firstly, BF and I have an emotional attraction to each other. It has nothing to do with looks or jobs. And secondly, I only use female pronouns and drag, NB. You know that. I was pretty frustrated by this point, but my anxiety stopped me from getting too bitchy. I'm way less confident how drag. NB. Sorry, I just wanted what's best for you, beautiful. Ew. Me. I know what's best for me, NB. He continued to rant about how I deserve better and how you treat me like royalty. He even had the nerve to go into detail about how he can make me feel good in bed. Excuse me while I go throw up. Even though he constantly bitched about how he was still a virgin. I ignored him as we went around the store, which seemed to piss him off. He gave up while I spoke to the cashier. She was extremely charming and managed to cut the awkward tension a little. Then we left. This is when he told me, NB, I have a picture of you and BF. Me. That's nice. NB. Might show his mom and dad later. Me. Cool. I might send it to you later, too. You look pretty. Did you ever notice you grab his hair when you make out with BF? Me. MB, what are you talking about? I'm done with this shit right now. MB. The picture. You and BF are making out of it. I pause for a second and it finally sinks in. This bitch had taken a picture of me and BF when we were making out at the party. Quick note, we were not the only couple doing it, as it was towards the end of it anyways, and now he was attempting to blackmail me. I wound up just walking away from him. He tried following me for a bit, but I'm pretty fast for a short little queen, so I made it back to the house, grabbed my stuff, and stormed out. BF following behind me to see what all the fuss was about. Basically, we stopped talking to MB Jr. for a while, but due to the stress of the picture, if MB even had it, getting leaked, caused BF and I to argue a lot. He was terrified of his family disowning him, and I was terrified of losing him. We argued, cried, and then made up again. The cycle continued for a couple of months until BF finally decided that he was not going to have MB Jr. screw up what we had, and decided to come out to his family. He even packed most of his belongings and was ready to move in with me and my aunt. He told me he'd give me a call and let me know how it went, and proceeded to send his family down and tell them. If you read the previous installments, then you'll know that it went amazingly. His family were just glad that he was happy. BF's dad, who is not good with emotions, even got him a rainbow pin for his bag as a sign that he was happy for his son. I met his family, and BF explained to them that I do drag, which his mother absolutely loves. She's adopted me as her son-in-law, and we got into the salon to get our nails done every other weekend. Anyways, you can tell by the previous story that we did start talking to MB Jr. again. I know, we're fools. But to our credit, we did keep a distance for a little bit before letting our guard down a little. Enjoy!